Welcome to the final match of the first round. Today Mr. Turtle will be playing Guardians of Light, while we will be piloting Sliver Hive. And we keep a fine opening hand with a Plains and a Forest, which will cost a Rampant Growth to get our third color. And no turn 2 play from our opponent is good news, as that means no core Spirit Dancer in the near future. At turn 3, Misa Enchantress will draw our opponent a card whenever he casts an enchantment, but our Fiery Justice takes care of the Enchantress and basically gives our opponent 2 life, so he goes up to 22. Here's a Seraph of the Sword, which prevents all combat damage, so we take the turn off to cast a Steel Form Sliver, as we do have a Path to Exile in case the Angel grows out of control, like it does here with the Armored Ascension, making an 8/8 Angel, putting us down to 12. We cast a Predatory Sliver, attack with the Steel Form, putting our opponent down to 19, and before any damage happens we cast our Path to Exile to take care of the Angel. Here's a Misa Enchantress plus Pacifism, which draws our opponent a card and disables our Steel Form Sliver. Now we will cast our Striking Sliver, and we will also cast our Survival of the Fittest, and an attack from the Predatory puts our opponent down to 17. We pass the turn. A Spirit Mantle on the Enchantress draws our opponent a card, and another enchantment will draw our opponent 2 more cards, and eventually a Pacifism finds our Striking Sliver, drawing our opponent another card, and an attack puts us down to 11. On our turn we decide to attack first with our Predatory Sliver, putting our opponent down to 15, and finally we cast a Fiery Justice on the Enchantress and basically give our opponent 3 life this time, putting him back to 18. On our turn we have a Thermomorphic Expanse, and a Blur Sliver together with Striking Sliver puts our opponent down to 14. We get a Forest, and a Armored Ascension on a Sunstriker makes a 10/10 Flying Lifelinker, but luckily we have another Path to Exile to take care of it. Discard a Battle Sliver to our Survival, getting another Predatory Sliver, and an attack from the 2 Predatories plus the Blur Sliver puts our opponent down to a very low life total. And a huge core Spirit Dancer isn't gonna change that, as he has no way to gain a life and survive this next attack. So Sliver Hive is up 1-0. We sideboard in some additional removal spells like Fate's Feathers that can take care of giant creatures, and we take out some creatures like Thorncaster Sliver, which isn't very spectacular in this matchup. In game 2 we have a fine opener with a Thermomorphic Expanse, which will get our Forest to cast our turn 2 Rampant Growth to get our third color, but a turn 2 core Spirit Dancer changes that plan, as we have to use a shock to take care of it before it grows out of control. And a Misa Enchantress will be surviving this time around, as now we cast our Rampant Growth to get our Plains, and a Greater Aromancy will give creatures Shroud if they're enchanted. We cast a Boneside Sliver and leave Path to Exile up, and before the Enchantress gets enchanted we use a Path to Exile to take care of it. On our turn we will be playing our Battle Sliver, pumping the Boneside Sliver, so we get in for 8 double strike damage, and a Spirit Dancer plus Armored Ascension will get pretty big, but we draw a Megantic Sliver, which will be enough to close out this game, even though we could have just cast our Survival of the Fittest to fetch a Blur Sliver. Nonetheless, Sliver Hive wins the match 2-0 and will advance to the next round, where it will be facing Enter the Dracomancer, which will be a very fun match to see play out. Join me next time, where we will be playing out the first quarterfinals match. We are only halfway through the tournament. I want to thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.